Hi everyone, it's Teresa Grissom with Liberty Elementary School, and I am here for another book in the Middle Grade Madness Book Talk series. And in fact, this is the final one for 2020. And I saved a good one for the end of the year. This book is by an author that Beth Lang and I both really love. He is from Indianapolis, and he is one of the first authors I ever had come to Liberty Elementary School, and I think the kids really enjoyed him being here. And here's a picture of him when he was at the school, and me. That's John David Anderson, and he has written a lot of really good books. Before he came to the school, I read all his books that he had published at the time, and the one I'm going to tell you about today is his most popular one. It's the one that he is most well known for, and it is called Ms. Bixby's Last Day. And in fact, in the picture you can see we recreated the book cover on the door. At least my daughter did. She's way more creative than I am. But this is Ms. Bixby's Last Day. This is a fantastic story, as are all of his stories. He has so much heart in all his books. He deals with some tough stuff in some of his books, but he always does it with humor and just great characters. He has some of the best characters of any author that I have ever met, including this. So this book is told by three best friends. They are all in 6th grade. They're Brand, Steve, and Topher. And each of these boys, they're very different in their own ways, and the chapters in this book are told in alternating viewpoints by the three characters. Although they're very different, they have one thing in common, and that is they all have the same 6th grade teacher. Her name is Ms. Bixby. And these three boys, one day at recess, they decide they're going to classify the teachers, and they have 6 classifications of teachers. And I'm going to read a little bit out of this book talking about their classifications. So, there are 6 kinds of teachers in the world. I know because we classified them once during indoor recess. First, you have your zombies. Those are the ones who have been doing it for a few centuries, since Roosevelt was president. The first Roosevelt, with the broomy mustache and from those museum movies. The zombs speak in a mumbled monotone and come equipped with an armory of worksheets, all designed to suck any fun out of the learning process, which doesn't take long considering how little fun comes included at the start. They may not eat your brains, but the zombies won't do much to nurture them either. Then there are the CAFADs. Brand calls them zuzzers. You can spot them by their jittery hands and bloodshot eyes and the insulated NPR travel mugs they carry around with them. Unlike the zombs, the CAFADs are like little bouncy balls, but you really can't stand to listen to them either because they talk so fast. Zuzz, 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 like sticking your head in a beehive. Unfortunately, our Spanish teacher is one of those, so not only can't I understand her, but even if I could, I couldn't. Then you have your dungeon masters. The red pass-wielding ogres who wish paddling was still allowed in schools. The kind who insist on no one talking, whether it's reading time, work time, sharing time, lunch time, after school, before school, the weekend, whatever. You are supposed to just sit and shut up. Mr. Madison, the art teacher, is one of those. We draw in absolute silence during art. Graveyard quiet, which is actually fine by me because it's the one specials class worth concentrating in. Though while I'm there, I mostly draw pictures of Mr. Matt carrying a club and picking the meat off the bones of the latest students to whisper a word. Then you've got your Spielbergs. They're not nearly as cool as Steven Spielberg. We just call them that because they show movies all the time. Some of them are zombie Spielbergs. Mrs. Gredenza falls into this category. She once showed us a film on the life cycle of fruit flies that was pretty gross but also didn't make much sense, seeing as how she was supposed to be teaching us geometry. At least with Spielbergs, you often get a chance to doodle or nap or text. That is, if one of the dungeon masters hasn't captured your phone yet and fed it to his goblins. My personal favorite are the noobs, the overachievers, fresh picked from the teacher farm, with their bright eyes and their colorful posters recently purchased from a catalog, and the way they clap like circus seals when you get the answer right. They don't stay noobs for long. They get burned out pretty quickly. A year, maybe 2. I don't think it's the student's fault, though. I blame the system. The last kind we simply call the good ones. The ones who make the torture otherwise known as school somewhat bearable. You know when you have one of the good ones because you find yourself actually paying attention in class, even if it's not art class. They're the teachers you actually want to go back and say hi to the next year. The ones you don't want to disappoint, like Ms. B. So, That is at the beginning of Ms. Bixby's last day. So throughout the book, you have Topher, Brandon, Steve alternating telling this story. And what happens is they all really, really love Ms. Bixby, all for their own reasons. And what we find out about Ms. Bixby from the very beginning is that she is sick. She tells her students in her class one day that she's not going to be able to finish the school year because she has cancer. And she announces that they're going to have a party at the end of the week before her last day so she can go to the hospital and get treatment. Well, the next day comes around and a substitute teacher comes in, and the principal also tells the class that Ms. Bixby, they decided she needed to go to the hospital sooner rather than later, so they didn't get to have the party, and these 3 boys didn't get a chance to say goodbye to Ms. Bixby. So they come up with a plan to skip school, go visit her in the hospital, and have their own way to say goodbye. So this whole story is about these 3 boys traveling to the hospital, which of course doesn't go quite as planned. So this story is full of heart, and you learn about these 3 boys throughout the story, their struggles that they're dealing with at home, because each of their lives has their own little troubles that they have to deal with, and how Ms. Bixby affected each one of them. And it's such a wonderful, beautiful story. So I highly recommend any of John David Anderson's books, but particularly Ms. Bixby's Last Day. It's a wonderful, wonderful story. You will be glad you read it. If you have read the Mr. Terrupt books, this has been compared to Mr. Terrupt before, and I've read that. This is way better. I love this book even better than those. So if you liked that, please pick up a copy of this and read it. You will be so glad you did. So until next year, have a great rest of the week, rest of the school year, or well, not school year, school's done, rest of 2020, and keep reading.